In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and the world assumed the Cold War was over. Most overlooked a 90-mile stretch of water south of Florida. For 6 decades, the island of Cuba has been locked in a geopolitical deep freeze. But now, in 2026, the strategy for thawing it out relies entirely on a massive real estate maneuver. The current administration views these vintage streets as delinquent collateral, managing this diplomatic standoff as a multi-billion-dollar foreclosure on the infrastructure of pre-revolution Havana. The origin of this foreclosure dates back to 1959. When Fidel Castro took power, he systematically seized American-owned infrastructure on the island. Hotels, sugar mills, and oil refineries were nationalized, and the original corporate owners were left with zero compensation. This digital ledger tracks the financial cost of seized assets. At the time of the revolution, the confiscated property was valued at roughly $1.9 billion. Factor in 60 years of interest, ballooning the original bill to an $8 billion tab. These documented debts are certified claims, a legally binding validation of property seized by foreign governments. These claims maintain the legal basis for the embargo, providing the exact leverage needed to force what the White House calls a friendly acquisition. Most diplomatic historians see a headline about easing tensions. To a developer looking at the balance sheet, it is a 60-year-old unpaid mortgage that has finally come due. While the United States spent decades waiting for that bill to be paid, another massive economy stepped into the void. Port Mariel sits right on America's back door, wrapped in an industrial gloom. Beijing provided the capital and the engineering to upgrade Mariel. Today, Chinese state-owned enterprises manage a modern deep-water logistics hub, effectively planting their flag 90 miles from Key West. During the 1962 missile crisis, the threat was measured in nuclear warheads. Today, the tactical advantage is built on control of commercial shipping lanes, massive solar energy grids, and advanced signals intelligence listening posts. This 3D map of the Caribbean reveals the administration's counter-strategy. By acquiring and calling in the $8 billion in Cuban debt, the U.S. gains enormous financial leverage over Havana. That leverage can be used for one demand: evicting the Chinese infrastructure network from the island. This creates a 21st-century Monroe Doctrine. The administration uses aggressive financial leverage to force a rival superpower out of the Western Hemisphere, securing the defensive perimeter around the Caribbean basin. Acquiring this debt serves a specific strategic goal: serving a final eviction notice to a superpower. Humanitarian concerns for the island remain secondary to removing the Chinese footprint. Solving the Cuban standoff has eluded U.S. leadership for over half a century. John F. Kennedy initiated the embargo, setting a precedent trapping both nations in a holding pattern. Subsequent administrations across the political spectrum maintained that stalemate. Bill Clinton signed laws tightening the sanctions, keeping the financial pressures locked firmly in place, even despite shifting global dynamics. Even Barack Obama's highly publicized diplomatic thaw, which effectively restored embassies and direct flights, still left the underlying problem untouched. The core financial standoff over the billions in stolen assets was never resolved. Donald Trump approaches the 1959 claims strictly as a business transaction. By settling the debt and lifting the embargo through a corporate buyout, he can close the deal that defeated his predecessors. The administration frames this friendly takeover as a modern peace treaty. By neutralizing the longest-standing conflict in the Western Hemisphere through a commercial escrow, they're positioning the deal as a historic victory worthy of the Gold Nobel Peace Prize medal. A leader who built his brand on large-scale acquisitions claims peace as his greatest trophy, achieved entirely through a real estate buyout. The push for this acquisition requires immense political capital, and the funding originates in Miami. A tight network of wealthy Cuban exiles has been weighing to reclaim their families' assets since the revolution. Their strategy hinges on activating Title III of the Helms-Burton Act. Title III is a provision in U.S. law that allows American citizens to sue foreign companies profiting from property confiscated by the Cuban government. By fully activating it, the administration turns the U.S. federal court system into a private collection agency for these exile families. This flowchart maps the political loop driving the deal. Exile donors provide a crucial Florida firewall of votes and funding. In return, the administration pursues a policy putting those specific donors first in line to reclaim lost property deeds in Cuba. The beneficiaries of this transaction are highly specific. Billionaire sugar magnates and massive agricultural conglomerates are positioned to legally repossess the island empires they lost decades ago. Fidel Castro spent his entire life designing a system to keep American capital off the island. In 2026, the revolution he built is bankrupt, its infrastructure is collapsing, and the debt collector is at the door. Is using decades-old debt the only realistic way to rescue a failing nation and oust a geopolitical rival? Or is it a hostile corporate takeover disguised as diplomacy? Let us know if you think this is the ultimate geopolitical deal in the comments below. And please do subscribe to WonderOwl for more deep dives into the hidden mechanics of global politics.